It's very interesting topic to start with AI. And now we are stepping into another very, very, very interesting topic with my friend, Mohammed Shaik. Okay, so happy to see you, Mohammed, again. So thank you very much for joining the session today. So we are going to talk about design thinking for strategy formulation. It's a very, very important and relevant topic at this point of time. So, design thinking for strategy formulation beyond the traditional analysis is the topic. Just to give you a quick introduction to Muhammad. Muhammad Shaik is a strategic product and technology leader with more than 25 years of experience. His leadership roles includes very senior roles in PayPal, Blackhawk Network, and many more. So he has led enterprise-wide digital transformations, built high-performance teams, and driven by AI-powered innovation across fintech and SaaS. His expertise spans agile delivery, product strategy, and scaling centers of excellence, impacting over 50 product portfolios and 4,000 plus engineers. So I would be very happy to introduce you to the session. So Mohammed, please take it up. So thank you for joining session today, and it's your
Thank
favorite topic.
you. Thank you, Mr. Khadir, for giving me this opportunity. Good morning, everyone, wherever you are. This is it's going to be very innovative thinking and topic. How can we marriage two disciplines, two different techniques, okay, which probably um, you never imagined that can we bring in design thinking into strategy formulation. So it's a very unique combination which we are going to discuss. Um, this is the blueprint we are going to cover in next probably 40 minutes. We leave 10 minutes, last 10 minutes for the Q&A session. Uh, First, we'll start with the introduction. Um, Good morning, Osama. And then context. I'm going to give you a context because for any topic, if the presenter doesn't give the context, then it doesn't make any sense because any topic in in isolation or in absolute terms doesn't make any sense. You need to have a context. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes around explaining the context. Then the forecast that failed. Okay, so these are the phrases which I have used, but when we go into the topic, you will understand what are these things. The strategy trap, strategy as a design challenge. This is the mindset we need to change. Okay, it is not about crunching the numbers, forecasting. Okay, this is how we're going to make money. This is how we're going to expand our business. This is how we are going to have um, the competitive advantage over the competitors. But how do we see it as a design challenge? That's really a very key takeaway from this session. And what design thinking unlocks. Okay, what are the benefits of this whole thing? Okay, how is this going to unlock us and then help us to make our strategies much more powerful? And then I'm going to give you a real world application, and then designing the future. I'm going to talk about how do we design the future, because strategy is all about future. It's not about past. I mean, you guys know better than me. And then lastly, I'm going to share a small playbook which you can probably try it out in your day job and then see how this is going to help you in managing the design thinking into your strategy formulation. So, as Mr. Khadir has introduced me, just quickly, I'm a product and technology last 20 plus years of technology experience. I'm into product and technology leadership, digital transformation, agile adoption at the enterprise level, and then change management leader in making AI adoption successful. And I'm a strategist and an entrepreneur as well. I'm working on a product right now as well with my own team. Disclaimer before I go, and also I want to make sure to the audience at any point in time on any slide, if you have any question, just post it there immediately. Because my style of presenting is that I want to address the questions on the spot instead of waiting for the last uh, part of the talk. Okay, so let's make that as a point, and then whenever you have a question, straight away, hey Sheikh, stop here. I want to know about this thing. What is this? What do you mean by this? Any question? And I don't qualify any question as good, bad, ugly, excellent, great. No, for every question, I consider with the same weightage, whether it is a basic, fundamental, advanced, any any stage. Okay. Disclaimer: this is not about any critique of any framework, process, or methodology you use today. I'm not here to pinpoint anything here. No way. I'm here to open your minds. My intention is very simple, to explore how we can modernize. If you look at the word modernize, why I have used it, if you see the strategy has been there in the industry for more than what, 80 years, 70, 80 years. So, but still, I have seen many companies still apply the legacy models still as we speak. So I feel like it is a tipping point now. We need to modernize the way we are thinking in formulating our strategies. So, so the point here is to explore how we can modernize, evolve, and enhance the way we formulate strategy, regardless of what approach you are using. So I'm not recommending this way of formulation is better than something else. No, that's not my point. Whatever works for you, continue that one, but modernize it. Okay, so that's the point I want to. I mean, as a disclaimer, I want to call out. So it's just no judgment here, just possibilities, exploring possibilities. Let me start with the crux of the problem, the strategic illusion. Why analysis fail to guide bold strategy? So, as Roser Martin, my favorite strategist, uh, says, most strategic planning is just budget allocation with a spreadsheet, but real strategy is about making tough, imaginative choices in the face of ambiguity. Like someone has asked a question in the previous session about competitive advantage. So, what Roger Morton says is that let's pick three companies. If all the three companies have the same strategy, what is that your company is doing differently here? Where is the strategy and competitive advantage here? So that's the beauty of competitive advantage, bringing into your inherently into your strategy formulation. If if anywhere, if it is not mentioned how we are going to be competitive, and these are the choices we are making, that means that's not strategy. Okay, keep that in mind. And then analysis is retrospective. It optimizes what we know. This is bold italic underline the statement. Analysis is retrospective. It optimizes the past. So it assumes the data is equivalent to insight, but strategy lives in unknown. So when you formulate a strategy, you're taking the past historical data and then you are trying to project or predict future. Okay. So strategy becomes now risk averse and status quo affirmation because you are going with the historical data. So the provocation here is that what if analysis is actually the enemy of the strategy? Okay, think about this and have a conversation with your executives within the company. Okay, take last 3 years strategy data and out of that, what was our strike rate, and why did we miss? Okay, all that stuff. I mean, if you analyze, then it will give you a very good a mirror to understand about the gaps in our mindset. So the mindset shift from the certainty to curiosity. See here, the words curiosity. So we are moving from certainty. What we are assuming from the past data, we are thinking that when we start on the day one of your strategy formulation and execution, and you think that, oh, we are certain that we are going to achieve these KPIs, or we're going to achieve these strategic advantage, and we're going to achieve this competitive advantage. So those are certainty, but we need to move from certainty, as I said in the previous slide, into curiosity. So, as um, Teresa Torres, she is a expert in design thinking, applying in different field, not in strategy, but she applies this design thinking in product designs. Okay, what she says is that good product thinkers constantly discover what works. They don't assume, they know. They test and learn. So the question here is, what is the answer? Instead of asking what is the answer, you need to ask what is worth exploring. So when you are formulating the strategy for your company, for your department, you are instead of you asking what is the answer, what is the strategy, you need to ask what is worth exploring. So strategic confidence should emerge through discovery, not before it. Okay, this is the mindset we need to change. So the core message here is strategy must be shaped by exploring desirability, feasibility, and viability, not only by calculating ROI. So keep that in mind when you do the next time with your executives. Put these points on the table. Strategy should be shaped by exploring the desirability, okay, feasibility, and viability, not only by calculating the ROI. Okay, then so this is what we are trying to do. Please, okay. So this is what we are trying to. This one slide will give you what exactly we are trying to experiment, bringing the left side design thinking, which is human centered approach, to the numbered centered approach, the analysis approach. Okay, uh, around uh, the strategy formulation. Okay, so here I have taken the example of strategy formulation from Roger Martin. You can take whatever the model you have with you. That's fine. I am just for this talk. I have taken this an example, which comes in 5 questions. What is a winning aspiration? Where will we play? Where will we win? How we will win? What capabilities we need to build? And what management systems are required. So this is typically how you make deliberate choices. Okay, on the right side, on the left side, you solve complex problems. The very purpose of a design thinking is to solve a complex problem. So when we bring together these two things, our presumption or our premise is that strategy is a complex problem. Okay, with that we are free. So let me start with an example. Okay, so that we understand, we connect the dots what we're talking about. January, a global supply chain company wraps up its annual strategy of site, spreadsheet low, KPIs are locked, forecast shows 96% fulfillment precision, everyone nods, the board signs off, the confidence is high. April, a, a tier 2 supplier floods, 3 weeks offline, small disruption, they think so. May, backlogs pile, inventory misaligns, SLA slip, revenue tanks. In the war room, the CEO asks this SVP of strategy, "Oh, why didn't we see this coming?" Very interesting question. I'm sure many of you have faced this question in your day jobs. And the unfortunate truth is, they had all the data on the earth. They just did not ask the right questions. They optimized the past, not designed for the unknowns. Later, the leader said, "We are precise but blind." Strategy wasn't wrong, it was incomplete. So, so this is what we need to think about. There's nothing wrong with the strategy. It was incomplete. Now, going back to my premise in the beginning, what I said, modernizing, and that's where it will help us. If we apply correctly, the strategy will become complete, which incorporates the unknowns as well through your design thinking, combining your strategy formulation with design thinking. So this isn't just one company, it's a pattern. Strategy today is brilliant at measuring but poor at imagining. This is very radical thinking. Remember, if you talk to any legacy strategist, I'm sure strategists are belongs to baby boomers. They must be having 30 years, 40 years experience under their belt. Now, if you tell them that this has to be like imaginary, then probably you will be thrown out of the window. Okay, which leads to the real question: what if the real problem isn't lack of analysis, but the absence of design? So you need to see the strategy formulation as a problem, and then you need to design. Okay. So the next topic is, how were we getting into this trap? I'm sorry, the letters are very small. I tried my best to make the font bigger, but I couldn't. My
You can
apologies
see
for
it. You can
that.
see it. No problem.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Thank you, Mr. Khalid. So, in most boardrooms, strategy means analysis. We gather data, build dashboards, craft forecasts, we turn the future into spreadsheet, and if the numbers are clean, we feel safe. Wonderful, good job. Have an excellent dinner on that day. But here is the trap. Data only tells us what already happened. and yet we use it to design what hasn't happened. There itself, the premise is um, your false premise. You're starting with the false premise. You're assuming that the data which tells about the past is help us to design the future. So this is again another part of the strategy trap we need to think about. Strategy becomes a budgeting exercise in disguise. Scorecards become comfort blankets, and strategic plans beautifully flawed guesses. We reward certainty and punish doubt. Boom. The moment in the boardroom someone says that this strategy I will give only 5 out of 10 confidence, you will be thrown again out of the window from the person who has designed or rather formulated the strategy. So but real strategy starts where the data ends. I am nowhere saying that we don't need data. No, that's not my point. My point is don't end your strategy formulation with the data, but beyond the data, there is a lot to be done. Okay, so what are the common patterns? Overconfidence in the known. If we measure it, we can manage it. But in complex systems, what matters most can't always be measured. Blind spots. Our model worked last year until one assumption quietly fails and everything unravels. Slow defensive planning cycles. Let's revisit this next quarter. By that, by then, the market has already moved by one quarter. So these are some of the symptoms you see happening in the boardroom when you are reviewing the strategy, what you have put on the wall, okay, written on the wall, written on the stone, okay, and then things slowly unravel. The strategy as a design challenge. Now we are getting into the topic. Okay, I have built the context so far. Where are the gaps? How is the problem? Where are the current practices not helping us to be successful, formulating successful strategy. Okay, these are. What if the real power of strategy isn't in precision, but in possibility? This is very powerful. So our mindset has to change from precision to possibility. What if instead of asking what is most likely to happen, we ask what is worth exploring in our strategy formulation? Wow. And that is where design thinking enters into the picture. It does not reject analysis, it completes it, as I said previously, right? The strategy formulation should not end with data. Keep this statement, write it on some paper, and when you go back to your day job, analyze these points and see how these things are valid in your context. Okay, so then only you will get the value out of this spending your 50 minutes in this session. So it does not reject the analysis. We are not saying that don't do analysis. Yeah, let's make it modernize with doing things in a better way so that it completes. So I'm coming up with a strategy reframe lens 2 by 2 matrix, which is very popular Many of the people, consultants, practitioners use this one. So if you see this one, 2 by 2 matrix, so on the left axis, on x-axis, you see, um, okay, there's a question here. How do organizations know whether the strategy is complete or incomplete? Okay, so the answer for this one is you need to list out what are the assumptions you have made for after formulating the strategy. Okay, let's assume that you have done a series of workshops with your executives offsite, and based on your analysis, you have come up with your strategy formulation. And every strategy formulation definitely incorporates certain assumptions. You have made that formulation with certain assumptions. List out those assumptions. Classify them into critical, moderate, and low. Pick the critical ones, which are going to be much impactful on the outcomes of your goals, what you have set in your framed strategy, formulated strategy. Go one by one, validate them through your design thinking. Go back to the question, is it worth exploring? Which I told you a few slides back. Go one by one, explore what we need, okay? And then see if there are any surprises are coming out of that question, that analysis, and that validation. Then see your already formulated strategy. Then you will see you are smart enough to figure out where is the gap and how I need to re formulate my strategy. Likewise, once you go through that, at least those critical assumptions, then you can say that your strategy is, I would say that based on my experience, if you are if you have addressed the critical assumptions, I could say that you are 90% confident that you are going to achieve the set goals. Okay, does it make sense? Any follow-up questions on that? This I have already answered this question. So I'm asking, I mean, my answer, did it answer this question or not? Okay, I'm assuming that for the lack of time, I'll be going ahead. So, if you the strategy reframe lens, as I said, 2 by 2 matrix. If you see on x-axis, known problems and emerging possibilities, and on the y-axis you have analytical thinking. Okay. Now, if you see here, on the x-axis you have classical planning, and then you have predictive optimization, and then in terms of the analytical thinking, you have visionary, uh, budgeting and scorecards, and design strategy zone, where strategy has discovery and iteration, testable choices, and integrated desirability. So that's the fourth quadrant. If you see there, that is where the design thinking is incorporated into your strategy formulation. We'll go one by one, strategy wise, okay, and then we'll try to explore what is each quadrant is meant by. So the strategy reframe lens from prediction to design, a new lens per strategic leader. Let's walk through quadrant one, classic planning, budgeting, scorecards, and then your management by objectives. Work in stable, linear systems, breaks under complexity. So this model works in stable condition, linear systems where everything is predictable, you don't have much complexity. For those kind of strategy formulation, this works your classical planning. Go with it. Okay, that's quadrant one. Then quadrant two, which is predictive optimization. AI forecast. The previous Ramachandran, I guess, the speaker, he talks about AI forecast, which is the power of. So if you include design thinking and your data analysis using the AI forecast, that's really truly powerful. So here, AI forecast, scenario trees, risk models, and it is useful for operational efficiency. Assume the future is equal to past patterns. Because if you see in the AI models as well, when you use machine learning, I'm assuming most of the audience know about machine learning, which we use it for forecasting. Okay, yesterday's weather was like this, day before yesterday it was like this, 1 week back it was like this, 1 month back it was like this, last year it was like this, 2 years back it was like this. So let's predict tomorrow's weather. That's a usual predictive models. That's what modeling is all about, and which is AI. Machine learning is nothing more than that. Takes the past data and then it predicts different algorithms using different algorithms. So this model, which is predictive optimization, useful for operational efficiency, future is equal to past patterns. If that is what your company is, go with this model. Third quadrant, which is visionary, inspire bold futures, often detached from real world constraints. This, if I have to give you an example, let's go back to the Apple. When Apple was introduced their smartphone long back, 20 years back, if I remember correctly. So, so they came out with the real. I mean, they detached everything from the real time, real world constraints. No, we will not care about this. We will create our own product, we'll create our own market, we'll create our own brand. That was their premise. On that, they went ahead and they designed the strategy, and then so it was like a blue ocean kind of thing. So it's like blue sky thinking, innovation, absolutely not even caring about what has happened in the past. Okay, so you are defining your strategy in that way. So assume that you are a company, you this is your first year. How do you define, where do you start your strategy? Okay, if you are a conservative leader, probably you'll go with classic planning, or if you are little on the writer side, then you go for the quadrant two. And if you are totally a radical guy, leader and the team, probably go with the quadrant three, where you totally detach with the real world constraints, and then you come up with. In quadrant four, which is the design strategy, which we are talking about, this is the talk of the today. I mean, the crux of the today's talk, where design thinking meets the strategic discipline. You explore what is desirable, feasible, and viable. Someone, Abid Khadri, has asked the question, right? When do we know that our strategy is complete? It is desirable, it is feasible, and viable. Going through your assumptions, validating them, treating them as a problem, and then making them viable and feasible, and then validating your assumptions. Awesome. Then you test your assumption, as I said, not just set KPIs. Nah. When you start you validating your assumptions, your KPIs will change. It's an iterative process. That's okay. So the premise here is we don't want to be right today and wrong tomorrow. No. This is another mindset we need to bring into our day job. Okay. So all my points so far, right, are more intangible related to human behaviors and human decision making and human mindset. Keep that in mind. So the change has to happen first at that level and then into actions. So you test the assumption, then you make choices. Wonderful. You make choices based on behaviors, not beliefs. So that's what the four quadrants of your reframe lens, how we see the strategy. What the design thinking unlocks? Design thinking isn't soft; it is strategy. It brings the muscle, traditional, which these traditional strategy frameworks lack. Okay, so that muscle we are trying to build with your design thinking. Design thinking isn't about sticky notes, it's about sharpening strategy in ways analysts can't. No, an analyst cannot do like a designer does. So we need to involve designers, or rather, we need to transform ourselves. If you are a strategist, you need to build a skill of a designer. And then, while you frame the strategy, bring out that skill and then apply. Okay. So, again, some more examples about around empathy, strategic insight. Data shows what people do, empathy reveals why. So that why part is what very important for our strategy formulation. Understand the real behaviors, pain points, unmet needs. For example, you have 10 suppliers. Okay, you need to understand their behaviors. Talk to them. Okay, before you formulate this thing, right? One of the assumption is that your end vendors will follow the SLAs. Now you need to validate that assumption, which is a critical assumption for successful implementation of your strategy planning. Now, before you write this strategy on the rock, talk to your vendors, understand their behaviors, what their challenges for this next 6 months, next 3 months, understand their pain points, understand their unmet needs. So that ground strategy in lived experiences, not just reports. So that is what empathy is all about. Similarly, with the ecosystem, your entire ecosystem, because supply chain management has so many actors involved in supply chain management. So you need to apply these things to all the actors who are involved. I know this is painful, but it is good pain to have because tomorrow is going to be a successful day. We don't want to be a safe game player. Nah, today. We want to play a complex game and we want to be a winner tomorrow. So it's iterative think, de-risking, decision making. Great strategy isn't guessing, it is tested. Prototyping choices before betting the company. Learn fast, adjust faster before the market forces you. So it's a proactive thinking. Integration, better strategic choices, designers hold tension, strategic resolved, uh, and all that stuff. I mean, I'm because I'm running out of time, so so you understand what I have said, points. Uh, Again, the inaction theme, the real world example showing how shifting from analysis to design thinking, let's bring to life. Here is the true story. I'm sorry again, the font is very slow. If you can maximize it so that
We
people
can
can
hear.
read it. Global logistic company. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Khan. So, global logistic company, mature, efficient, deeply analytical. Their scorecards were immaculate. Yes, for 2 years straight, they missed their on-time delivery targets. Old strategy approach focused on optimizing historical shipping patterns. KPIs were tied to forecast. Root causes analysis blamed external disruptions. They kept improving the model, but the outcomes did not improve. Now apply the strategic reframe. Instead of asking what has broken in the supply chain, they should ask what is the changing in the customer expectation. They ran design interviews with warehouse managers, clients, and drivers, and they prototyped flexible routing optimization with live feedback. They iterated based on behavior, not on assumptions. So your strategy formulation becomes human centric, not only data centric. It is a combination of these two will make you a successful. So new strategy, dynamic delivery commitment model shifted from on time to on demand, built real time feedback, result 24%, 21% improvement in customer satisfaction, 17% reduction in fulfillment, and then strategy become adaptive, not reactive. Okay. So, designing the future, as that the theme is true strategic leadership is not about knowing the answer, it is about designing the better questions and choices. So, my humble request to all the leaders on the call, so you need to build skill set. I'm sure most of you are having this skill. Um, Leading by questioning, okay, by asking the right questions at the right time. That will lead to making the right choice. Strategy has long been set as a test of intellect. The one with the sharpest model wins. That is not true. But in today's world, resilience is not found in models. It's found in the mindsets. And we need to transform that to the models. Traditional strategy asks what is the optimal plan, but assumes the world is stable, which is totally, utterly wrong. And we know this, but still we make this assumption. And we are to blame for this. And that's where the finger pointing goes. As I shown you the real example, CEO asking, and the strategists are putting the fingers to the external suppliers. So, as a designer, what you need to ask is what is worth testing, what is worth learning, and what bold choices can we make even when we are unsure. Okay, out of the box. Okay, detaching from the real world. Some of the metaphors I'm going to skip because we are running out of time. You guys can read whatever I have so far explained. I have converted into metaphors which you can go through. I'm sure Mr. Khader's team will
Yeah,
share
sure, sure.
the presentation.
Yep.
Call to action. So here is your challenge. Here is the homework I am giving you. Find one assumption in your strategy today that everyone takes for granted and test it, explore it, and reframe it. Not because it is wrong, but because it hasn't been designed yet. The future won't reward those who knew the answer. It will reward those who knew how to ask better questions. and were bold enough to design new ones. So, step by step, the framework which I have explained: sense, frame, discover, prototype, and then integrate. The objectives, and then mindset shift from curiosity, from certainty to curiosity, from problem to possibility, from assumption to evidence, from planning to experimentation, and from review to continuous strategy. This is what you need to change, and you should be ready to change. Otherwise, I'm telling you, you and your strategy and your company is going to perish. That is given. Okay? Time has come to change our mindset. So again, this explains one by one all the slides. Steps are there. You guys can go through and reach out to me if you have any follow-up questions offline. Uh, Unfortunately, we are running out of time. So all the 5 steps are there, clearly mentions. At the bottom, you see what is the tool, what is the mindset shift. Strategic learning loop, mindset shift. Strategy is not a moment, it's a motion. Similarly, in step 4, strategy prototype canvas, treat strategy like a product prototype. Similarly, in step 3, strategy is a empathy map. Great strategy listens more than it plans. This is wonderful. So try to practice these, the last bottom ones. And then last topic, which I'm going to give you an example. How do we apply this one? I took an example from PayPal. The strategic challenge is how should PayPal expand sustainable payment adoption in undeserved cash-heavy economies. Okay, step one, what is our winning aspiration? I've taken the Rosa Martin's model. And where will we pay? Focus on tier 2 and 3 cities in India, Philippines, and Kenya. Okay. Then how we will be winning? Outcomes cash, outcompete cash by making PayPal more intuitive, trustable, and context relevant than local alternatives. What capabilities must be in place, and then what management systems we need to build. Now, this is a conventional model. Now we are applying the design thinking on this. Empathy is. Reframe the strategy challenge. How might we make PayPal feel as trustworthy and tangible as cash without requiring tech literacy? Wow. See the change in the previous slide, step one and step two. With the empathy you are designing. Then continuation, ideate that one, then uh, and then do prototyping, testing, launch light MVP, A/B testing, observe the real behavior. Now, when you apply this thing into the your strategy, you are applying or you're doing it for 1 quarter. You are not writing for 12 months or 18 months or 24 months. So here the question could be, what can we achieve in this quarter? That's what prototyping is all about. Then integrate back into strategy loop. Again, where to play, how to win, the design thinking into that particular aspect. The final impact is this approach avoids launching a globalized UX in a marketplace where it would fail, accelerates adoption through context sensitive innovation, reinforces strategy through real world behavior, connects design thinking, human empathy with strategy, bold choice. Okay. So the takeaway is strategy without empathy is blind. Never do that. Design without direction is scattered. So when you combine these two powerful things into your armory, it will help you choose boldly and design wisely. Okay. Final thoughts. Don't wait for the future to validate your plan. Design a strategy that discovers the future one decision at a time. I know this is very radical. I know this is very out of the box. This is very unconventional. I'm sure when you present for the first time, you will be thrown out of the window by your executives. Okay, but build your, gut feeling or believe in this model, and then go ahead and try to influence your leadership team and try to apply and see what is working, what isn't working. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much, audience, for listening to this. And if there are any
Yeah, there are a
questions,
couple of questions.
I'm happy to tackle.
Fantastic session. First thing I would like to say, I really liked one thing. It is dangerous to look correct today and wrong tomorrow. I think that metaphor we really liked it. Okay, so people try to be right now, correct now, and then it end up as a wrong thing tomorrow. That is something very dangerous. And you explained that how to avoid that in a very nice way. So thank you. And we
Thank
have a
you.
couple of questions. Take up a minute. Okay.
Sure.
So Dr. Ajay Shankar Gupta. So he said how organizations know whether the strategy is complete or incomplete. Okay. So draw strategy map and see if there is a cause and effect linkage in core perspective. So if you can talk about it, just answer it. Uh,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, as I answered the first part of the thing, which is validating the assumptions, critical. First, list out, come up with a draft strategy, okay, with your current practices. Don't change anything up to that point. The change happens after that. Then list out the assumptions, then classify them into critical, moderate, and then low. Okay, and then pick the critical assumptions and start validating them. Okay, using the design thinking philosophy, and then slowly reframe your strategy. Okay, in a continuous basis in your workshops with your executives. It is not one man show. It is a teamwork with executives, all the stakeholders involved. Okay, with empathy from the external ecosystem actors, because SCM is so complex. So you need to bring in that aspect
thank,
as well. And then once you have validated, your strategy is
thank
complete. Now coming to the second point, strategy map and see if it has a cause and effect linkages. Yes, certainly, because some cases it has, some cases it hasn't. If you remember, I told come up with some idea which is totally delinked with the constraints. For those kind of things, you don't have the cause and effect. So it's purely based on the company's gut feeling, the leader's passion, this is thinking that this is the only way for the company to go to be successful, and we will make it happen. For those kind of things, there is no cause and impact, the mapping. For other traditional things, yes, certainly you can do as part of your design
Fantastic.
process.
Fantastic. I think Swati has asked a question. Can you explain design thinking in product management perspective? Oh, it's a long question. I think the whole session is about that. Okay. Anyway, you would like to just give one liner for this?
Yes, absolutely. This is about empathy. When you create a product, right? Yeah, so you need to think about empathy. Empathy is very important aspect of your design thinking whole aspect. Knowing about your customers, knowing about your end users, okay, knowing about your internal customers, okay, understanding being in their shoes. I'll give you many examples from PayPal. So when we started thinking of deploying PayPal payment system in Brazil, a team went there, and then we went to the end customers' houses. We sat there, we saw them, how they manage their money, where do they keep their money, And one shocking thing came out was they were keeping money under their mattress, not in bags. Okay. So now how can we help them easily without any technical background, technology background for these low end customers to keep their money safely in PayPal wallet? So that was the discovery. So these kind of things will come out when you design a product.
And
So it's a
yeah,
big answer, the question.
fantastic.
To
Yeah,
answer it, maybe
yeah,
sometime else, Mr. Khader will set up
yeah.
a
We have
session and I can
we
share
have an
my.
ongoing program. Okay, so every 6 months we conduct summits, and also
Sure,
we also
sure,
conduct some webinars or something. So thank
sure.
you, Sheikh,
What
for
next?
joining the session today. Happy to see you again. Very interesting session. I have
Absolutely.
I have many
Same. Thank
questions
you.
for myself, but due to time constraint, I'll reserve it. Maybe I'll write it down to you. Okay. So thank you.
Sure,
Thank you
sure,
very
absolutely.
much. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for two sessions today. Yeah, all the materials will be kept available after the event.